I hired a cleaning service for my apartment. When I got home, everything looked perfect, except for the note on my mirror that read, "You're welcome." I never told them to leave a note. Then I noticed something else, a dozen identical pictures of me sleeping, tucked into my bookshelves. Panicked, I checked the security camera footage, and saw someone standing over me all night, watching me breathe. The timestamp showed it was 5 minutes ago. I live alone in a small apartment in Tacoma, Washington. It's a one-bedroom, top floor of a 3-story building. Quiet neighborhood, older place but decent. I'm 34, single, and I work at a tire shop in Lakewood, so I'm out early and back late. I don't party. I don't travel much. I mostly just keep to myself. A few weeks ago, my apartment was getting out of control. I'd let dishes pile up, laundry was overflowing, and I hadn't vacuumed in weeks. I finally decided to try hiring a cleaning service. Something simple. Just one time, to get things back in order. I found a service on Facebook. Carla's Clean Home Company. It looked legit. Had a bunch of 5-star reviews, mostly from local people in Tacoma. There was a profile picture of Carla, middle-aged, brown hair, looked friendly. I messaged her, and she got back fast. She even called me to confirm the details. Said she'd send someone Tuesday between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. I'd be at work, so I gave her my front door code. Made sure to lock up my valuables and told her to only clean the common areas, kitchen, and bedroom. Tuesday came. I got a message at 1:48 p.m. that said, "All done. Hope you like it," smiley face. The smiley face seemed normal at the time. When I got home around 5:30, the apartment was spotless. It was actually impressive. The smell hit me first, clean linen and lemon. My dishes were done and put away. My shoes were lined up near the door. Even the fridge had been wiped down. My bed was made tight like a hotel. They'd even folded my shirts and stacked them neatly on the dresser. I actually smiled. Thought maybe I should have done this a long time ago. Then I walked into the bathroom. On the mirror, stuck dead center, was a sticky note. "You're welcome," smiley face, same smiley face. Same handwriting as the text. But something about it felt off. It wasn't a thank you note. It wasn't cute. It felt sarcastic, almost mocking. It made my stomach turn. I stared at it for a few seconds, then peeled it off. I figured maybe Carla just wanted to leave a nice touch, even if it was weird. But then I walked into the living room. I was grabbing a beer from the fridge when I noticed something on my bookshelf. It was small. Stuck between 2 books I hadn't touched in months. A photo. I pulled it out. It was a black and white photo of me. In bed. Sleeping. I was on my side, arm tucked under the pillow. Mouth slightly open. I froze. I checked the back. Blank. No writing. No date. I thought maybe it was some old picture I forgot I had, but then I looked closer. The bedspread was the one I bought 2 months ago. The lamp in the corner of the shot was still tilted from when I knocked it over last week. This was recent. And someone had taken it while I was asleep. I started tearing through the bookshelf. I found another photo. Then another. All tucked between random books or wedged behind DVDs. By the end of it, I had 12. Every photo was me, sleeping. Different nights, maybe. Different angles. One was close enough to see the hairs on my face. Another was taken from the foot of my bed. A few were grainy like they were taken in the dark. I dropped them all on the table and just stood there, breathing heavy, trying not to throw up. Then it hit me. I had a camera. I'd installed a small Wi-Fi camera in my bedroom last year after someone broke into my car. It was pointed toward the window and part of the bed. I mostly used it when I traveled, just to feel safe. I ran to my laptop, opened the app, and pulled up the last 24 hours. Nothing looked off at first. I scrubbed through the timeline. Midnight. 1 a.m. 2 a.m. Then, at 3:22 a.m., someone walked into frame. A tall man. Skinny. Wearing black clothes, a ski mask, and gloves. He didn't move like a burglar. He didn't ransack anything. He walked straight to the side of my bed. And just stood there. I watched, horrified, as he stayed there, almost frozen. I checked the timestamp. He didn't leave until just after 7 a.m. Over 3 hours. He didn't touch anything. Didn't hurt me. Just stood there, head tilted like he was listening to me breathe. I paused the video, hands shaking. That's when I saw the timestamp. It wasn't from last night. It was live. It said 6:02 p.m. It was 6:02 p.m. right now. Someone was standing over me right now. I stared at the screen, not blinking. But the camera feed was empty. The bed was made. No one there. I looked behind me. Nothing. Still, I grabbed my phone and turned on the camera. Pointed it over my shoulder. Nothing. But I didn't feel alone. I ran out of the apartment and into the stairwell. Called 911 while pacing in socks on the landing. I told them someone had broken in, maybe still inside. They showed up 10 minutes later with 3 cops and a dog. They swept the whole place. No one. Nothing broken. Nothing stolen. But the back window was unlocked. I never opened that window. The cops tried to calm me down. One of them, Officer Briggs, said maybe the cleaning crew left the window open. Maybe they opened it while cleaning and forgot to close it. I told him that window had a security latch. You can't open it unless you know how to disable it. No way someone just forgot. They didn't take me seriously at first. They looked around, took a few pictures, and told me to call if anything else happened. The younger one, a guy with red hair, asked if I had any enemies. I said no. I work at a tire shop. I keep to myself. I don't date. I don't have drama. At least I didn't think I had enemies. After they left, I didn't go back inside right away. I sat in my car in the parking lot and pulled up the cleaning company's site again. The Facebook page was still up. Same logo. Same phone number. But something was weird this time. The reviews were gone. Every single 5-star review? Gone. Wiped. Now, only one review remained. From some guy named Jared P. It was dated 2 days ago. It said, "This isn't a cleaning service. This is a front. They came into my place, and weird stuff started happening. Do not trust them. I'm warning everyone, Carla isn't real." I tried to message Jared, but his profile was locked. No public info. No friends list. I clicked the business's phone number to call Carla again. Number disconnected. I went back to the apartment eventually. Locked every door and window. Pulled the blinds. Slept on the couch with the lights on and a hammer next to me. I didn't sleep much. Next morning, I drove to work like a zombie. Didn't tell anyone. I figured I'd just cancel the service and forget it happened. But when I got home that night, my door was unlocked. I know I locked it. I checked it 3 times before I left. I even pulled on the handle. Inside, nothing looked touched. Except one thing. On my bed, someone had laid out all 12 photos of me sleeping. Lined up in perfect rows. And next to them was a new one. A 13th photo. I was in the shot, but this time, I was awake. My eyes were open. I looked confused. My mouth was slightly open, like I had just started to speak. It was taken from the hallway, just outside the bedroom door. It meant someone had been standing there the night before, watching me. And I'd seen them, maybe for a second, but I didn't remember. I called the cops again. They sent someone out, but this time, the tone had changed. They asked why I didn't move out yet. Why I hadn't stayed somewhere else. I told them I couldn't afford to leave on short notice. I was trying to figure it out. But they treated me like I was just paranoid. One of them asked if I'd been taking anything. If maybe I'd imagined the photos. I showed him the pictures. He didn't touch them. Just gave me a look like I was making it up. After they left, I checked the security cam again. It was offline. Feed was dead. Error message said, device disabled. Admin access removed. I never gave admin access to anyone. That night, I didn't sleep at all. I started digging deeper into Carla's Clean Home Company. I ran the phone number through a reverse lookup. It traced back to a burner in Oregon. No real business license, no tax records, nothing. The photo of Carla on the Facebook page? I dropped it into a reverse image search. It was stolen from an obituary. Some woman who died in 2018 in Missouri. I felt sick. This wasn't a business. It was a setup. And I had let them in. I couldn't go back to work the next day. I called in sick and spent the morning driving around Tacoma, trying to calm my nerves. Every time I checked my phone, I expected to see another message. Another photo. Something. But it was quiet. Too quiet. By noon, I drove over to a public library and used one of their computers to make a fresh email. I started posting on local forums, Reddit threads, even Craigslist. I asked if anyone else had used Carla's Clean Home Company. I didn't use my real name. I just said I was trying to track down a bad service. It took a few hours, but someone finally responded. A woman named Ellie. She messaged me through Reddit and asked if I had photos left in my apartment too. I froze. I replied instantly. Told her yes. She said she had nearly the same thing happen. A cleaning service came in, everything looked perfect, but then she started finding Polaroids in strange places. Not black and white like mine, hers were color. Someone had taken pictures of her brushing her teeth. Eating cereal. Walking from the bathroom in a towel. She'd lived alone too. She moved out 3 weeks ago. Said the cops never helped. She ended up sleeping in her car for 6 days until she could crash with her cousin in Yakima. I asked her if she saw anyone. If she ever caught a face. She didn't. But she mentioned one detail I hadn't told anyone. A new sticky note, 2 days after she fired the company. It read, "You looked better last week." Same handwriting. Same smug tone. I felt like my heart stopped. That wasn't just creepy. That was personal. Whoever was behind this wasn't just watching. They were judging. Choosing their words carefully. This wasn't some random freak, it was a person with a plan. Ellie offered to meet up. Said she still had some of the Polaroids. We agreed on a public place, outside a Panera by the mall, broad daylight, lots of people around. When I got there, she was already sitting outside, hoodie pulled tight, eyes scanning every person that walked by. We talked for maybe 10 minutes before she opened a folder and slid some photos across the table. I swear to God, I dropped my drink. Because in one of her photos, barely visible in the mirror behind her, was me. Me, wearing my tire shop jacket, walking out of a bathroom stall. Face slightly turned. Blurry, but clearly me. It was taken over a month ago. before I'd ever even hired the cleaning service. I asked her where this was taken. She looked at me like she already knew what I was about to say. The Shell station on 56th. Next to the freeway. I go there every week. I always stop to get coffee before work. That meant someone was following both of us. Tracking us. Photographing us before we ever even reached out for cleaning help. Which also meant something worse. This didn't start when I hired them. They waited for me to reach out. They planted themselves online, knowing sooner or later, I'd come looking. This wasn't just stalking. This was a trap. And I had walked right into it. That night, I didn't go home. I couldn't. After what Ellie showed me, I realized I wasn't just being watched in my sleep, I'd been watched for weeks, maybe months, without knowing it. Every time I stopped at the gas station. Every late-night grocery run. Someone had been following me. Documenting me. I got a motel room off Highway 7. It was run down and smelled like bleach and cigarette smoke, but it had 4 walls and a lock that I could see and hear. I shoved a chair under the doorknob and slept in my clothes with my phone charging in my hand. I woke up to a text. No number. No contact name. Just the message, Panera was a bad idea. She talks too much. My blood ran cold. I checked the time, 6:13 a.m. I called Ellie immediately. No answer. I called again. Straight to voicemail. I drove to the Panera, heart pounding the whole way. Her car was gone. No one knew anything. No reports. No signs of her. It was like she vanished. I called the police again and filed a missing person report. I told them everything, about the photos, the fake cleaning company, the meetup, the message. They took notes, asked for screenshots, but I saw it in their eyes, they didn't think it was connected. They thought Ellie just walked away. I knew better. I drove back to the apartment around noon, planning to grab my things and never come back. But as I parked and started toward the stairs, I saw something taped to my door. Not a note. A photo. A new one. Bigger than the others. Glossy. Professionally printed. It was a picture of me at the Panera. Sitting across from Ellie. I had my drink in my hand, head tilted, mouth half open. Mid-sentence. It was taken from inside a car. You could see the edge of the windshield, the dash, the GPS stuck to the glass. And in the reflection of the rearview mirror, clear as day, was a man's eye. Just one. Looking straight at the camera. I took the photo, didn't even go inside. I drove straight to my brother's house in Lakewood. Haven't spoken to him in years, but I didn't care. I needed to be around someone. He thought I was drunk or high at first, but once I showed him the photos, his tone changed. He let me crash in the basement. That night, we heard something outside. It was about 2 a.m. A soft knock on the back door. Not loud. Not urgent. Just, light. My brother grabbed his bat. I had a kitchen knife. We opened the curtain slowly. No one there. But on the porch, someone had placed something. A Polaroid camera. Old-fashioned. The kind that prints instantly. And taped to it, a note. Your turn. We didn't sleep after that. My brother, his name's Sean, stayed up with me, sitting on the basement steps with his bat in one hand and a flashlight in the other. Every creak of the house made us flinch. Every gust of wind felt like a warning. Around 4 a.m., I started hearing things, soft clicks, like a camera shutter, but Sean didn't hear it. He thought I was cracking under pressure. I wasn't. By sunrise, we both were exhausted. Sean tried to convince me to go to the cops again. I told him I'd already tried. Multiple times. And each time, they'd done less. One even hinted I was just paranoid. But now, with that camera on his porch, even he couldn't deny it anymore. We took it inside. Checked it for fingerprints. Nothing. The note was typed, glued on with neat edges. Whoever did this was careful. Too careful. But something changed when I turned the camera over. There was tape on the battery panel. I peeled it off. Inside, instead of batteries, there was a tiny USB stick. Sean and I stared at it for a minute, like it might explode. Then he grabbed his old laptop, the one he never connected to the internet, and we plugged it in. The folder popped open instantly. Files. Dozens of them. Each one was a short video clip. Black and white. Grainy. The first one was of me, brushing my teeth. It looked like it was filmed from inside the bathroom vent. The next clip was Ellie. Sitting in her car, crying. Taken from the passenger seat. Another was a young couple I didn't recognize, arguing in their kitchen. Then one of a man mowing his lawn. Another of a woman folding baby clothes. Different people. Different houses. Every clip was labeled by first name. All lowercase. All time-stamped. There were 32 folders. Mine was the newest. I opened mine again. My stomach dropped. The last clip was labeled, final_sleep.mp4, it was me, in bed, 2 nights ago. The same night I ran to the motel. Except, in this video, I wasn't sleeping. I was lying in bed, staring up at the ceiling. And someone was filming me from above. From the ceiling. There was no ladder. No sound. Just my face. My eyes blinking slowly. My mouth opening, like I was about to speak. Then, a hand appears in the top corner of the frame. Not reaching toward me. Just, placed there. Like they were resting. Watching. I ripped the USB out. I couldn't take any more. Sean was pale. Sweating. He kept asking the same question over and over, "What is this? What is this?" I didn't know how to answer. I wanted to run. I wanted to leave Tacoma, the state, the country. But something about that note, "Your turn," felt like a dare. Like if I ran, they'd follow. But if I stayed, maybe I could flip the game. Sean didn't like the idea, but I convinced him. We had to fight back. At least figure out who was doing this. Why? So we made a plan. We'd use the USB. Use the videos. Look for patterns. Figure out who the other people were, maybe some of them were still alive. Still looking for answers. If we could find even one of them, maybe we'd find the people behind it. And then, we'd go after them. One by one. We started with the folder labeled Grace_04, her videos were the oldest on the drive. Dated almost 2 years back. Grace was maybe mid-40s, short black hair, always wore a gray hoodie in the clips. Most of the videos were of her in her kitchen or living room. She lived alone. You could tell by the silence. No TV, no pets, no background noise. Just the sound of her breathing, of dishes clinking together, the microwave door opening and closing. One video stood out. Grace was standing by her window, frozen still, just staring at something outside. She didn't move for 3 straight minutes. Just stared. Sean caught it first. In the reflection of the glass, you could barely see it, but it was there. A man. Holding a camera. We couldn't make out a face, but the outline was clear. Someone was standing on her lawn. Filming her from just a few feet away. The video ended right as she started walking toward the window. Her last video was labeled exit_Grace, and it was different from the others. Shakier. Longer. She wasn't in her apartment this time. She was outside, in the woods, flashlight in one hand, a kitchen knife in the other. It was night. The camera wasn't still, whoever was filming was following her. She was running, panicking, looking over her shoulder. The sound was heavy breathing, snapping twigs. Then, just as she turned to scream, the video cut. No more after that. Her folder was empty past that clip. Sean and I just stared at the screen. He said what we were both thinking. They kill them, don't they? I didn't answer. I didn't want to believe it. But every folder told a similar story. People alone. People being watched. Then the videos would change, get more aggressive. The watchers would get closer. Start leaving things. Notes. Gifts. And then the last clip always came. Exit_name, 32 people. 32 folders. All ending the same way. Except mine. My last clip was still labeled final_sleep. No exit yet. We had time. Not much. But some. That's when we found Dylan's folder. He had 3 videos only, but in the last one, he was writing something down. The angle was bad, filmed from across the street through a window, but we could see he was scribbling in a notebook. Looked frantic. The timestamp was 2 weeks before his final clip. We ran a search. There were 3 missing persons cases in Pierce County named Dylan. One matched the right age. I looked up the report. Said he was last seen at a grocery store on Pearl Street. Vanished. No signs of foul play. But here's the kicker. The report said his mother had filed the missing persons report. Gave her name and address. Gloria Pratt. She lived just 15 minutes away. Sean didn't want to go. Said it was too risky. But I was done waiting. I needed answers. If Gloria had Dylan's notebook, or any idea what he was writing before he disappeared, it could be the break we needed. We got there just after noon. Little house. Overgrown yard. Broken porch light. I knocked 3 times. She answered on the 4th. Thin woman, late 60s maybe. Wore a housecoat and had tired eyes. She looked at me like she knew who I was. I told her I was a friend of Dylan's. That I had some questions. She didn't speak. Just stepped aside and let us in. Her house was dark. Curtains drawn. Smelled like old books and cleaning supplies. She led us to the kitchen and sat down. Motioned for us to do the same. Then she pulled a small, leather-bound notebook from a drawer and slid it across the table. Dylan's handwriting. Dozens of pages. All dated. All full of frantic entries. Drawings. Maps. Notes. Descriptions of being watched. Of someone standing outside his window every night. Of finding things moved. Objects missing. And then, seeing people he didn't recognize. People who seemed to be following him. On foot. In cars. At work. At the store. He described them all the same way, the watchers. But one line stood out, right in the center of a page: they only watch until you notice. Then they move in. Then they take control. And at the bottom, I've seen their faces. I made a copy. If they find it, I'm dead. Sean and I looked at each other. Gloria stood up and opened another drawer. Pulled out a flash drive. She handed it to me. I never opened it, she said. Too scared. But I think you're supposed to have it. The door creaked open. We didn't breathe. Sean raised the hammer over his shoulder, and I held the knife so tight my hand went numb. The man stepped into the room slowly. Tall. Black clothes. Calm like he'd done this before. He didn't speak right away. He just looked at us. Then he smiled. "You two found your way in. That's rare," he said. His voice was smooth, like a man who thought he was in charge. I lunged first. I didn't think, I just moved. The knife caught his arm, not deep, but enough to make him grunt and stumble. Sean followed with a swing that hit the wall. The man backed out, fast, and slammed the door, locking us in. We heard his voice through the metal. "Enjoy the show." Lights flicked on. A speaker in the ceiling cracked to life. A screen in the corner lit up with a feed of another room. It was Dylan. He was tied to a chair now, head slumped, arms loose. Someone else was in there with him. A woman. Her back was turned, but she was holding something, metal. Long, sharp. It was Carla. She turned to the camera slowly, like she knew we were watching. Smiled. The room we were in started to hum, low at first, then louder. I looked up. Vents above us started blowing out a fine white mist. Gas. Sean yanked his shirt up over his face. I did the same. He started kicking at the hinges while I smashed at the lock with the back of the knife. My head was spinning fast. Ears ringing. Sean roared and threw his whole body at the door. Again. Again. The third time, the latch cracked. We burst out into the hallway. No more hiding. We ran for Dylan's door. It was marked with his name, but it was locked from the outside. Sean swung the hammer at the lock. Once. Twice. It gave. Carla was already walking toward Dylan with that metal rod when we crashed in. She didn't flinch. Just looked up and said, "Right on time." I ran at her, knife out. She moved fast, stepped to the side, grabbed my arm, twisted. The knife dropped. Sean tackled her from behind and pinned her. She screamed and kicked but couldn't get loose. I ran to Dylan, cut the ties on his arms and legs. He was weak. Barely conscious. "I got you, man. You're going home." He looked up at me with sunken eyes and whispered, "Too late." Carla started laughing under Sean. I picked up the knife and turned to her. "What did you do to him?" She spit blood onto the floor and said, "We didn't take him. He came to us. Just like you." That's when I realized what she meant. Dylan was never just a victim. He had been a watcher too. Maybe not at first, but he had stayed. Maybe even helped. Maybe he wanted out, or maybe they turned on him. I looked at him again. His eyes didn't show fear. They showed something else. Guilt. I turned to Carla. Her smile was gone now. She knew. I didn't hesitate. I drove the knife straight into her neck. She dropped instantly. Sean let go, panting hard. Blood spread across the floor. He didn't say a word. We dragged Dylan out. He didn't fight us. But he didn't help either. Just mumbled things to himself the whole time. About balance. About the work. He wasn't right in the head anymore. We set the whole place on fire. Sean poured gas from the work van he kept in the garage. We made sure every room burned. Every name. Every file. Every twisted piece of that sick operation. When the flames hit the roof, we drove off. Didn't look back. I didn't sleep for 3 days. The news said it was an electrical fire. No deaths reported. No questions asked. The bodies never turned up. Carla. The other watchers. Maybe they burned. Maybe they escaped. A few days later, Sean left Tacoma. Said he was heading east. Somewhere cold. Somewhere with no cameras. I stayed behind. Not because I was brave. Because I wanted them to know, I was still watching now too. But I wasn't like them. They watched to control. I watched to hunt. If they ever come back, I won't run. I won't hide. I'll finish it. Because I made a mistake letting them in. I know that. But next time, they'll regret letting me live.